Hi, I'm TeriLeigh, and this is my Mindfulness Masterclass, Letting Go. Everything in life has a natural balance of holding on for a while until it's time and then you let it go. So this Rumi quote is perfect for this class. Life is a balance of holding on and letting go. Other than material stuff and junk and things, we hold on to a lot in our psyches and in our bodies. We hold on to grudges, resentments, lost loves, toxic relationships, fear, anxiety, control, thoughts, annoyances, and then there's material stuff. We also hold on to perfectionism and burdens and personal traumas and ancestral traumas and guilt and responsibilities and secrets and anger and lies and those pesky tasks and to-do lists. Holding on to too much for too long is detrimental to your health and can drastically impede your quality of life. So holding on without letting go can result in neck and shoulder pain, hip and pelvis tightness, constipation, carpal tunnel, arthritis, tight hamstrings, inflammation, and even sexual dysfunction. That's on the physical side. On the spiritual, emotional side, you also can result in a life of being perfectionistic, having control issues, overthinking things, and second guessing yourself, and brain fog, and feeling stuck in your life and not able to move forward, and a lack of creativity and all those pesky anxieties. So, how balanced are you in your holding on and letting go? Let's try a little quiz. Get out a piece of paper, do a few deep breaths to get yourself ready. And these are questions you just answer based on what you feel right now. So, you're going to rate yourself on the following statements from 0, you never do this, and always as a 5. I will read the questions for you, the statements, and I'll give a pause between each one. And if you're not completely done with this at the end of the slide, just hit pause until you finish. First, I am super tight and rigid. Now think of that both in terms of your body and your mind and your life. Number 2, I am stuck in my ways. Again, you could think of that in terms of your body. You're feeling stuck in your body. And you could also think of it about being stuck in your habits and mannerisms or being stuck in your life. Number 3, I hang on to things too tightly. Things could be material things, they could be memories or sentimental items, or things could be emotions and thoughts and feelings and experiences. Number 4, I often get constipated. And again, this could be in your body. Do you have a hard time moving things through, pooping? Or it could be in your life. Do you have a hard time moving? Do you have a hard time getting stuck, not moving forward? And number 5, I am a prude. Just think about that word and what it means to you. And now, if I haven't given you enough time, just hit pause on this recording until you want to move forward to the next slide. There's 5 more questions. Should be on a scale of 0 to 5. Never versus always. I am a workaholic. What's your play work balance, your life work balance? If you work way, way, way too much, choose a 5. My body feels restricted. Do you feel tight? Do you feel limited? Do you feel like you can't do what you want to do in your body? I am a hoarder. Is hoarding about stuff? Is it about food? Is it about money? Is it about emotions? Is it about people? Any of those could apply. I hold grudges. This goes along with resentments and maybe even some guilt. And last one, number 10, I am a perfectionist. Again, if you haven't finished all of these, you can hit pause on the recording to move on. The next slide is the results. your results. If you're between 0 and 10, you are a letting go master. You've kind of figured it out. You probably don't even need this class. You could teach this class. If you're between 11 and 20, you're human. Sometimes it's hard to let go, and that's actually normal. And it's healthy to have some level of challenge with letting go, because then when you do let go, you grow. From 21 to 30, holding on somewhat interferes with aspects of your life, certain parts of certain things. If you're between 31 and 40, holding on is causing significant life challenges for you. This is a pretty big deal. And if it's between 41 and 50, this is interfering. Your holding on is interfering with every aspect of your life. And it's really impeding on your health and your quality of life. So everyone in the world says, just let go. But how? Like there are so many how-to articles that say, let go of blah, blah, blah. And it sounds so simple and so easy, but really, how do you let go of those grudges? How do you let go of that lost love? How do you let go of all those responsibilities? That's what this class is going to introduce you to. I believe that simple mindfulness can help you learn how to let go of what holds you back and no longer serves you. It requires a retraining of your brain and teaching your brain how to do things in a new way. So it's really simple mindfulness of doing little things over and over and over again. And all those little things add up to a big, overwhelming letting go over time and over patience. You can't just, build a bonfire and burn something and that'll make it all go away just poof like that. Well, yes, it will make the physical stuff, but the resentments, the memories, the history, it's all coded in your DNA and coded in your memory, coded in your genetics and in your nervous system. So how do you retrain that nervous system to be able to move forward and move past those memories, those resentments, those grudges, those traumas and those toxicities of your past? It's a mindfulness practice of little things you do all day long. And I'll get to that towards the end of this class. But first, let's talk about what you're going to learn through the class. So in this class, we're going to go over what holding on does to your body, and specifically what things that you hold on to emotionally, what habits and behaviors do you have emotionally that manifest in physical body symptoms. So we're going to list body symptoms and then tell you what emotional stuff you're holding on to and where it's lodging itself in your body. Second, we're going to talk about what holding on does to your mind. And so there we're going to get a step further and talk about the things that you're holding in your mind are really a manifestation of what you need in your life. So that'll help you understand what you need to go get, what you need to go achieve in your life to relieve your issues of gripping onto something else. And finally, we'll get to 3 simple steps to mindfully let things go. And we'll walk you through a process of how to create mindfulness exercises for yourself to let go of the things you need to let go of. That if you practice those several times a day over several days, gradually you will create new habits and behaviors, and those things will just disappear and evolve from your life. In this first part, we're going to talk about your body and where in your body you're holding specific things in your life, because our body really does show us what's going on in our world. So your emotional issues, all the things going on in your heart, your mind, your thoughts, your monkey mind, they manifest into your physical tissues. The issues are in your tissues. So whatever you're holding on to too tightly in your mind, that turns into tightness, pain, and dysfunction in your body. And so what we're going to do in this section is go through the different types of pain, tightness, and dysfunction you might be experiencing in your body and tell you what things you could be holding there. So if you experience a tight neck and shoulders, this guy, Atlas, he probably has tight neck and shoulders all the time because he's holding the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's holding the whole world. Well, that's what neck and shoulder tightness is. It's tightness of the weight of the world. It's carrying the burdens and responsibilities of all these people around you. Specifically, if you're holding on to doing things for people that they should be doing for themselves, it's going to manifest in tight neck and shoulders. It's going to manifest in you gripping and holding way too much up here because you're doing things too much in your neck and shoulders and in your arms for others when they should be doing for themselves. One way to treat this is to shift the weight in your body and to shift the weight and the muscular effort out of your shoulders and your neck and down into your legs and your feet. So you're more supported and you're not supporting others. You're supporting yourself, your own body, not trying to do an action for other people. If you're dealing with tight hips or pelvic problems, see, Atlas is holding his hips because he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. That's an even deeper type of thing that you're holding. What we tend to hold in our hips and pelvis is past trauma, deep resentments, grudges, and guilt, those heavy emotions. And a lot of that comes from childhood. A lot of that comes from things that we couldn't deal with at the time because they were too emotional. It was too difficult to face those emotions. So we kind of tucked them away and said, oh, we'll deal with that later. But then you didn't deal with it later. And then that's why you put them away in your hips. That's why we call our hips our saddlebags. Our saddlebags is where we hide all that stuff, that deep, deep stuff that we don't want to deal with at the time that it happens. The next place we tend to hold stuff is in our wrists and hands and elbows. So if you're talking about wrist pain, carpal tunnel, arthritis, even tennis elbow, those are things also about doing, but not so much for doing for others, but it's about perfection and control. When you're trying to hold on to those teeny tiny little details and get everything meticulously perfect and just right and control all the aspects of everything, even the things you're not supposed to control or the things you have absolutely no control over, it's going to manifest in your hands, your wrists, your forearms, and your elbows because those are the tiny muscles that are gripping too hard to all those tiny little details. And lastly, let's talk about your tight low back and your tight hamstrings. Hamstrings being the backs of your thighs. These are muscles in your body that are meant to support you. So we look at what's the opposite of support, but the emotional mind issue is fears and anxiety and lack of support. Specifically financial fears, because money is what we need to make our worlds go round. But it's not just financial fears, it's any kind of support that we don't feel supported with. If we don't feel safe, if we don't feel secure, it's going to show up in our low back and our hamstrings because we're not supporting our bodies properly on our legs, feet, butt, and core muscles. All of these things can be adjusted with all kinds of different aspects. But here next, I'm going to talk. We go to many typical type solutions to treat these body issues. You can try stretching and yoga and massage and chiropractics and acupuncture and movement, exercise, and other physical relaxation modalities. And these do work. They do relax your muscles and tissues, and they do help you stretch out those tightnesses. But they don't work completely because, yes, they help as a temporary symptom relief because they're addressing the body, but they don't get to the root cause, which is the mental and emotional stuff that you're tucking into those parts of your body. So what you really need to do is link your body and your mind. So for example, if you go to your massage therapist is going to work out all those physical tissues. And then you go to your mental health therapist, and that mental health therapist is going to talk out all your emotional issues. But those two things are not happening at the same time. Mindfulness exercises will put those two things together, where you are thinking the thoughts of what you're emotionally dealing with while you're doing the physical exercise, the physical movement. So, a couple of examples of mindfulness based practices that do work from the body and the mind together is somatic therapy. Somatic therapy is where a therapist takes you through physical actions, stretching and movement exercises, and at that same time talks to you and helps you emotionally process those physical sensations on the mental, emotional, spiritual level. Another example is a good yoga therapist will put you into a yoga pose that is both strengthening and stretching and then talk to you about the emotions and get you thinking and feeling those emotions and processing them on the mat through your body. So we need to link the mind and the body for those to work. Now, in this little slide presentation, I only gave you a few examples of typical things we hold in 4 different parts of your body. If you have other physical tissues, aches and pains, or even long-term chronic issues or even injuries or illnesses that you're dealing with, if you want to work with me one-on-one in an initial consultation, I can help you determine what the emotional issues are that are manifesting themselves in those pains, aches, and injuries and illnesses. So you can figure out what is that body-mind connection. Now that we've covered what your holding on does to your body, let's talk about what holding on does in your mind and get even deeper. So this is where we're going to talk about those monkeys in your mind and those ping-ponging thoughts, those perseverating ideas that just don't let go. And whatever you're holding too tightly in your mind is a result of something missing in your spirit. So usually what you're holding on to means that you feel like you're missing something else, that if you got that something else, you could let go of that first thing. So we'll break those down. So for example, if you're holding on to burdens, guilt, and responsibilities, often that means other people in your life, you're holding on to all that. What you really need in your life is more joy and play. And if you reach for and embrace and really find ways to let in the joy and play, those burdens, guilt, and responsibilities will be so much easier. And you'll have less of them as well because you'll be able to let go of what you don't need to do so that you can embrace more joy. If you're holding on to grudges and resentments, perhaps toxic relationships, lost loves that really broke your heart, and you can't deal with that emotion of that brokenness, what you're really needing is to develop better boundaries. And once you learn how to establish those boundaries, especially with those people that have harmed you and wronged you in the past, and you establish that this is your safe space and you don't let people cross that, then you don't build grudges and resentments because those relationships that you invite into your life aren't as toxic. The next one is when you're holding on to that perfectionism and control. We talked about this with your tight fingers and your arthritis and your wrist pain. When you're trying to get everything perfect and everything right, it's often because you don't have enough freedom or confidence in your life. Maybe you don't feel like things are good enough, so you're trying to make them just perfect. But there's got to be room for that mistake because mistakes is where creativity happens. So you really need to invite in freedom, creativity, and find more confidence in your ability to move through mistakes and your ability to adjust and your ability to adapt. And if you're holding on to fears and anxiety, and I purposely put a dollar sign in there, that means that you're missing something else in your life. And that something is simple. It's security and support. If you don't feel safe, if you don't feel supported, you're going to feel fearful and anxious and nervous about things. And you're going to feel like you're standing on rocky ground. So you need to welcome in security and support and recognize where you do have security and support to let go of some of that fear and anxiety. Now, these are all typical things we do when we're dealing with things like perfectionism, control issues, and fears and anxieties and grudges and brokenheartedness and so forth. We go to talk therapy, we do journaling, we do meditation, we do affirmations, we do gratitude practices. All of those are really good solutions. And just like the body solutions we went through, they don't completely work. They're helpful. They do get you to reframe things in your mind, but they get stuck in your head. You're only doing things up here in your mind. And that reframing, it works to a point, but it's also too easy to get so stuck up in the reframing that you're overthinking, perseverating, overanalyzing, and second guessing. Is that really what it is? Is that what it is? Or could it be this? And there's so many layers that you get stuck in those overthinking thoughts. And that becomes too much focus on why you're feeling and holding on to these things, and not enough action on the how to actually let them go. So again, you need to link the mind with the body. So if you're processing those emotions and those mental thoughts and reframing things and feeling through things on the emotional mental level at the same time as you're doing a physical thing, the same time, the same moment, that will amplify your ability to actually let things go, because your body is doing what your mind is talking about. And your mind is affirming what your body is actually doing. If you want help in figuring out what your monkey thoughts are and what you need, like what your monkey thoughts are and what things you're holding on to. I only mentioned a few. I mentioned 4 different types of things we hold on to, and what those things are that you need to welcome into your life. If you need to figure that out, book a 45-minute one-on-one consultation with me, and I can talk you through by listening to what your monkey mind thoughts are, what you're holding on to, and help you figure out what it is you need to replace those thoughts with. Now we get into the good stuff. This is where you actually do the work of connecting your mind to your body to simply let things go. And I mean that simply. It can be a simple process if you do these things. So 3 simple steps to mindfully letting it go. So these are the 3 steps to mindfully let things go. First, it's quite obvious. They are a conglomeration, a connection of the triad of mind, body, spirit. So it's not just about connecting your mind and your body, but you've got to add your spirit in there too. So the advantage is that an exercise like this only takes 10 seconds. The exercises I'm going to show you are 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. Most practices like somatic exercises or yoga or other type exercises, they take 30 plus minutes, and they aren't accessible or reasonable for most people to do on a very regular or daily basis. But in order for mindfulness to really change your brain and change your nervous system and change the neuroscience of how your body and brain work, you've got to do them in short little stints many, many times. Repetition is key. When you repeat an exercise many, many times throughout your day, your brain repatterns itself to that new habit. So you're going to replace old habits with new habits by doing them many, 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 many times a day. And so it becomes part of your integrated everyday life. When you integrate these exercises that only take 10 seconds into your daily life routine, it becomes your new normal because you're doing it all day, every day, linked to things you're already doing anyway. And it's holistic. Most solutions address the mind or the body. That's what we've talked about. If you go to the chiropractor, they're going to address your body, maybe with a little bit of mind therapy in that. If you go to your yoga class, most of it is talking about your body. If you go to your therapist, your talk therapist, or your journaling, or you're meditating, that's usually stuff going on in your mind. But these exercises I'm going to show you, this method I'm going to teach you, it's about linking your mind and your body, and that in turn affects and improves your spirit. I call it the Mosey method. The Mosey method is a mind thought. So you take a very clear and concise intention or affirmation. I'm talking 3 to 7 words tops. A very short and concise intention, possibly of what you need to attract more in your life so that you can let go of what you're holding on to. Then you link that concise affirmation to a short and simple body action or movement. That could be a postural alignment. It could be some sort of exercise movement. It could be just taking a step or making a jump or taking a leap. Physically doing something with your body that is symbolic of what it is that you're saying in your affirmation. And I'll give you an example in a little bit. And then you link to that a deep and focused energetic breath, because the energetic breath is where your nervous system functions. When you breathe, riding out that oxygen is that message that you formulated in your brain in the intention or affirmation. And then so you breathe and that message goes through the body and tells the body to do the action. And if the action is directly linked and connected to and symbolic of the thought, and they both ride on your breath, everything in your body changes. That's the Mosey method. So how do you create your own Mosey method exercise? First, you design that intention or affirmation. So you have to identify what it is you need based on what you're holding on to. So you go back to those earlier slides and you look at all the things that you're holding on to and what is it that you're missing in your life. And based on that missingness, you want to create a 3 to 7 word affirmation that starts with I am and affirm what it is you need. I am supported. I am safe. I am okay. Those are all things that are affirmations that are great for if you're holding on to anxiety and worry. Then you link that to a body action, posture, or movement. So you identify the body parts that are symbolic of what you're holding or needing, or you identify the body parts that you're feeling that tension in. And you perform a specific posture alignment or exercise movement that is symbolic to that affirmation. So I am safe. Then maybe you want to stomp your feet into the ground and remind yourself that the ground is there. I am safe. And that stomping reminds you through your body that you're safe and you're standing in solid ground. And then you link that deep, focused, energized breath. So you activate deep, focused breathing. And if you don't know how to do deep, focused breathing, there's tons of breathwork practitioners out there that can teach you. And I also have a class on breathwork on my online school. It's only 30 minutes long. You activate deep, focused breathing and you link the breath to your movement as you repeat your affirmation. So you say your affirmation, and with your breath, you match the affirmation to your breath, and you match the physical action to your breath as well. So I gave you that sort of hint. I am safe, I am secure, I am okay, I am supported. And if that has to do with you standing solid on your feet so that you're standing on stable ground where you feel safe, then as you plant your feet, you deeply exhale into the earth, and then you inhale, saying, I am supported, and drawing up the energy of the solid, stable earth underneath you. Now, obviously, when you do that exercise, you're going to want to be standing on stable ground, not standing on a rocky rock, a shifty rock. You want to stand on something very solid and stable. I'm going to show you in a video here next a very specific Mosey method exercise that I've prescribed to many and many of my clients who've had exceptional results in letting go. So a specific Mosey method for letting go. So the Mosey method for letting go involves your hands and letting go with your hands, because that's what we grip onto. So start by exhaling as you open your hands and thinking to yourself as you exhale and open your hands, I let go of what I no longer need. Come up with an affirmation that's more affirming for you, whatever it is that you want to let go. I let go of my past relationship. I let go of my son as he goes off to college. Whatever it is you're letting go, you exhale as you let go and open your hand. And then you inhale to hold your hand to receive. You can make it a little more powerful by flicking, like really forcefully letting go, or even brushing off to let go, or shaking off to let go, and then opening to receive. And as your hands are open to receive, make sure they're not dead and they're not too strong. Just something in between, a comfortable where it can support whatever it is that's put there, but support without a grip, to support with a gentle hold. Now I realize creating your own Mosey method exercise could be awkward and confusing if you've never done it before. So if you want to get your own personalized letting go Mosey method exercise for the specific thing that you're dealing with wanting to let go of, book an appointment with me. Just one appointment. We can go over what it is that you're holding on, what it is you need, and come up with one very specific letting go Mosey method exercise for you. Let's take some time to review what we've talked about and talk more specifically about what the benefits are of doing this Mosey method, mindfully letting go exercise type stuff. First, what are the mental emotional benefits of mindfully letting go? When you do Mosey method exercise on a really regular basis, several times a day and integrated into your everyday life, you can heal from grudges and resentments. You can let those go in a very soft and subtle way without having to do too much deep, heavy work. Yes, it's important that you go to your therapist, and yes, it's important that you do your physical exercises, but this is a layer that brings it to a whole different kind of healing. You can release toxic relationships. This can be the last little piece so that you can finally let go of that person that hurt you, even though they haven't been a part of your life for a very long time. You can learn to establish and have healthier and better boundaries and invite people into your life who respect those boundaries. What happens as you do these Mosey method exercises is your energy, your aura changes, and you start to emit a different energy to the world. And people who do not respect your boundaries will say, "Oh, I don't want any of that." And then people who do respect your boundaries will come into your life in a much more abundant way. You can reduce your fears, your anxieties, your overthinkings, and your worries. By doing these Mosey method exercises over and over and over again in your everyday life, little bit by little bit by little bit, you're attracting and creating more stability, more security, more confidence, more sense of self-esteem. And those fears, those anxieties, and those worries, they just sort of melt away without you even having to try to work on them too hard. Then you can move forward from those personal traumas. Yes, you can do the deep psychological, spiritual work, but this helps you move beyond it by taking baby steps in ways that you don't even realize. It almost works on that subconscious, unconscious level. And you can find freedom from perfectionism and control, and you'll start seeing yourself release the grip just gradually over time. This work is very, very subtle. It requires consistency and discipline and practice. But when you do the consistency and the discipline and the practice, the layers of things that you've been trying to deal with through psychotherapy, through the mental, emotional, through journaling, through processing on the deeper levels, they can subtly, softly go away because now you're addressing them on the unconscious, on the everyday, on the habitual. And then we get to the physical benefits. When you use your body to let go of these mindful emotional things, and you mindfully let go using the Mosey method, you will start to, over time, notice that you're using your body better. You'll soften your neck and shoulders, and that pain will evaporate gently over time because you're learning to use your muscles differently. You'll relax your hip and pelvic tightness, not just because you're letting go of the stuff that you've put in those saddlebags, but also because you're learning how to hold your pelvis in a better manner. You'll have regular elimination because simply you're getting rid of your shit on a regular basis. You'll improve carpal tunnel, arthritis, and other type hand, wrist, and elbow symptoms because you're not trying to do so many teeny tiny little things and you're letting yourself make mistakes and get creative and go with the flow. You'll release those tight hamstrings because you won't be holding anxieties and worries in your legs anymore, and you'll feel more safe and stable. You'll reduce that joint and muscle inflammation. It kind of melts away when you're not holding the emotions in there. And believe it or not, it also enhances sexual pleasure because you allow yourself, when you let go, you'll allow yourself to let go sexually and be more vulnerable and be more receptive to that kind of pleasure. But this practice must be done on a mindful way. So if you do it one time a day, you'll change that moment. You'll feel better in that moment. If you do it 10 times a day, that will pervade through your whole day, and your day as a whole will feel a lot better. If you do it 50 times a day, you're really starting to change your habits and change your nervous system and rewire how your brain and body function. And you'll start to notice changing habits in your life as well. If you do it 100 times a day, this will change your whole life. Everything will be different because you'll have a whole different relationship with holding on and letting go. We've talked about how many times a day to do it, but for how many days? Well, if you do the mindfulness Mosey method exercise one day, it will change that day. If you do it for a week, you'll start to see changes in your mind and how you perceive things and how you think about things. Your thoughts and your emotions will start to shift because your hormones are being adjusted. If you do it for a whole month, you'll start to feel changes in your body in big ways. Those tensions that are almost always there will disappear. Those tightnesses, your posture will change. Maybe even how you eat and how you engage and relate to your body will change. And if you commit and you make this Mosey method every day for always, that will change your whole life and your whole experience and everything. It will, even just one Mosey method exercise that you do 50 times a day, every single day for the rest of your life, that will significantly change everything in your life. So as a reminder, the Mosey method is a very clear and concise intention or affirmation. Specifically, you think about what you want to let go of, what you're holding on, and what you are missing in your life because you're holding on to that, and you affirm what you're missing because you've got some of it, a little piece of it. So you affirm that. You link that to a very short and simple body action, movement, or posture that matches that intention. And then you link that to a deep and focused breath. To do all three of those, it takes about 10 seconds to do maybe one or two breaths. It'll take 30 seconds to do 5 breaths. And if you do that 30 seconds, 5 breaths, mindful intention, and physical action several times a day, it will help you release and let go. I'd like to talk to you about what's coming up. I offer my writing and my coaching on Substack. So if you'll find me on the Mindfulness Coach on Substack. And over the next month, I'll be offering articles and little mini videos on specific Mosey method exercises for letting go. So every Monday, I'll release a new exercise for my subscribers on Substack. First Monday, I'll talk about how to use your breath to let go of guilt, burdens, and other people's responsibilities so that you can have more time, relax with what is going on in your life, and feel more free. If you learn how to let go of guilt, burdens, and other people's responsibilities just by using your breath and linking that breath to an intention and a specific body action in how your body moves when you breathe. The second Monday in February, I'll be talking about on Substack, I'll be talking about how to use your movement to let go of perfectionism, control, fears, and anxieties. So we'll dig into the wrist, the hand, the hamstrings, and the low back, and we'll do some movement exercises linking to very specific mindful intentions and breath so that you can laugh off your mistakes, access your creativity, play more, and let go of those fears and anxieties while you do so. On the third Monday, I'll be releasing articles and videos on how to use water to let go of your grudges, resentments, and toxic relationships. All those old things that you're dealing with. I'll even offer a few shamanic rituals, very simple things you can do working with water. And that will help you to attract healthy relationships so that you can feel seen, heard, and loved, and also create much better boundaries in your life. And lastly, on the last Monday of February, I'll teach you how to use stretching to let go of those overthinking fears and anxieties so that you can try new things without worry and enjoy your life more. All those things would be really awesome. And I'd love to see you on Substack where you can practice these things on a regular basis. Imagine, just give yourself a week. You get the exercise on Monday in Substack subscriber mode, and then you practice that all week long. So one whole week of working with of overthinking fears and anxieties and learning how to try new things and stop worrying so you can enjoy your life more. And after a week, that'll really start to create into new habits. And then you're also learned how to work with water, and you've learned how to work with movement, and you've learned how to work with breath, specifically addressing each of those things. So you'll walk away as a Substack subscriber to the Mindfulness Coach with 4 Mosey Method exercises, any one of which could change your life if you really do it a lot. But if you do all 4, that's revolutionary. I also offer a Letting Go Sacred Mentorship Program. If you want to dive deep and really work with me one-on-one, I recommend you consider a step-by-step accountability program where I will guide you through specifically and personally identifying what you're holding on, where you're holding on to in your body, and how to practice mindfulness to let it go and address all the big stuffs that are happening in your life with those little stuffs, mindfulness exercises, those little Mosey Method exercises. And then we'll process together how you're growing and how you're evolving. I'd love to see you in any one of these formats, whether you're coming back next month for my YouTube masterclass, or if you sign up for my Substack, or if you want to work with me one-on-one. I appreciate you. Namaste.